For joining us and welcome. I am here with my guest tonight, Michelle Pettis, Leaving Large. She's the author of this book, but it's not only a book, it is a movement. And I'm very excited to say that through the whole thing, I've been just writing all kinds of little notes throughout the whole process, right? And but the foreword was written by the most illustrious Kathy Hughes, who is the founder of Radio One, and she is so excited about this book. And she said once Michelle explained the book's premise, it resonated with me immediately. I was intrigued and frankly impressed. Leaving Large flips the script on an issue that sorely needs flipping. The stories are the heart and soul of this memoir. They are reality, they are raw, they are relatable and familiar. Food stories. They expose the truth about why and how we eat when we are not hungry. These stories gives us the information we need to exercise our personal power over food with an incredible truth that is both brilliant and simple. Now, Michelle Petties is an author, speaker, food story finder, and recovering food addict. Now, let me say that again, a recovering food addict. In her first book, Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict features powerful stories that chronicle a lifetime of eating for all the wrong reasons. After gaining and losing 700 plus pounds over 4 decades, Michelle finally discovered the secret to ending the battle between her mind, body, and hunger. Her food stories um, and hunger. Her food stories. By unlocking her own unique food story, Michelle debunked long held misconceptions and misconnections about the purpose of eating. Armed with these insights, Michelle now shows others how to find their own food truth. This book is a book I want all of you who have questioned your eating habits and how much you eat to really read this book. It is very insightful, it's very honest, and it's straight up no chaser. And I welcome you, Michelle Petties, who I must say also that she's also my friend. And I like my friends. You know what's really deep about this? That you decided that you were going to actually be vulnerable, that you were going to allow this book to open you up, spread you raw, and tell the world the real truth
Yeah.
to the point where the reader will have to reflect on oneself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's start with what was going on in your life that made you do this book? You were led to do this book.
Yes. Well, Marsha, as you said when you were reading, and I got to tell you something, you are the first person that I have heard read those words.
Oh,
And I'm listening and I'm like, oh my gosh, Miss H said that. I said that. Oh my! So I'm listening to it from a different perspective, and I got chills myself.
really?
So,
It's
um,
powerful.
but I will. What you asked the question? What what led me to write the book? And it was one word: no.
Mm.
And that word no was like, no, I am not going to live like this anymore.
But something
No.
happened. Something. Tell me the scenario.
Okay.
Was this like you sitting in the living room listening to some music, or
No, no,
what
no,
were
no.
you doing?
Okay, so here's a scenario. Um, I I have struggled with my weight all my life. Clearly, I have been on every diet out there. I've done hypnosis. I've done clinical trials. I've done fen. I've done phentermine. I've had surgery. And I had surgery in 2013 to 2014, somewhere around in there. And I thought, man, if I can just have this surgery, I can get to a size that I'll be okay with. I can get to a 14. The black woman's 10. I can get to
Okay.
a 14 and I can maintain it. And I did for a little while, but I started to gain the weight back. And I could see it in the pictures.
Mm,
And I was like, oh no, no, what? I thought I had this under control. I thought I had this under control, but I don't. And I had been going to a doctor after I had lost the weight. I was trying to get, collagen treatments and get skin tightening,
mhm.
but I'm not afraid of the word fat. But
Okay.
I was fat. People don't like to use it now. People don't like to own that and say that, but the reality was that's what I was.
Okay.
And she, over the course of time, she said, I have a program that you could probably do that could probably no, I don't want that. Just let me come in here and get my skin tightened. And that I was in this the denial phase. And I went to a conference, and I do write about this in the book. I went to a conference, and at this conference, Marsha, I scarfed down about 5 pieces of pizza in it seemed like 3 seconds.
Mhm.
It wasn't that short; it was longer than that, but
Mhm.
it was too much. It was too much pizza in too short of a time.
Right.
And as I sat there, with this pizza, I was like, I cannot, no, I cannot do this any longer. And I left that conference. I went to my doctor's office. I didn't even have an appointment. I was just like, help me. And
Mm.
she said, come on in. And understand, I had been to doctors before. I had lost weight under doctor's supervision before, but I had gained the weight back. But I knew this time had to be different. And I sat in that office, Marsha, and I prayed. And I said, God, tell me, help me get, I need, I am missing something. Help me understand what I am missing. So that's where I was in this, like you said, vulnerable. I was in this place when God helped me, right? Help, you have to admit you need help first.
Right.
You have to admit that.
You have
So
to be honest.
you got to be honest. I can't do this. I've tried for 40 years and, it ain't working. So the doctor says to me, here's the plan. You follow this plan, you take these shots, you will not be hungry. Come back and see me in a week. That's what she said. Here's a plan. Eat this, take these shots, you won't be hungry. All
Hmm.
right. I I trusted her. I don't know if I believed her, but I
Okay.
trusted
All right. Because she's been your doctor,
her. Right.
so
She's
you
my
were
doctor.
comfortable.
And
Mhm.
so she was right. I took the shots, I followed the plan, I wasn't hungry, but I still wanted to eat.
So wait a minute. You didn't have a hunger pain,
I
but it was psychological?
but I still wanted to eat.
Mhm.
So I mean, what you just said, you didn't have a hunger pain was psychological. That's what this book is about. It is about the fact that we're in a place that not we, me. I was in a place where I couldn't distinguish real hunger from the desire to eat, and
Period.
just
Now
because
wait a
I
minute, wait a 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 minute. The real hunger and the desire to eat. How did you separate those? Because those are two distinctly
they are
different.
they are they are. I had to like sit. I had to let that hit me in the face. I had to sit and recognize that's what's going on. That I just ate. I just took the shot. I'm not hungry, but yet I still want to eat. And as I'm sitting here trying to process that, and like I said, I prayed, right? I prayed. Here's a story that bubbled up in my spirit. I'm from Texas. I'm from the South. I'm from the country. You know that, right? Right.
Little country girl from Marshall, Texas.
College shout out, right?
Wiley, go ahead.
Um,
Nancy
but
Whitaker was Wiley for a minute.
yes, you did. You told me that. You tell me that. All right. So I'm visiting my uncle who lives on a farm in Marshall, Texas. And at this point, my uncle is 70, 75 years old or so. We're out on his farm. We're having a cookout barbecue. And I'm like, Billy, you want some watermelon? My uncle says, I don't eat watermelon.
Mm.
What? What? Black people and watermelon, that's what we do, right? And so I'm like, well, why? And he's like, I just don't eat it. I'm like, you have got to give me a reason. You just don't not eat watermelon. What? And I kept pestering him and pestering him. And he finally told me that when he was a kid, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that, he and some buddies stole a watermelon from a neighbor's yard. And my grandfather, his father, found out about it. Two things about my grandfather. My grandfather was a church trustee, and
Mm.
my grandfather was a railroad worker, a laborer on the railroad. And the one thing a kid that has just stolen a watermelon, the one person that he doesn't want to meet is a strong church trustee. So my grandfather proceeded to beat my uncle. He proceeded to give him a beating so severe that 70 years later, he's still not eating this food.
He's still not eating
He is
a
not
watermelon,
eating. My grandfather literally beat the taste out of his mouth. You know, people
literally.
say that, but
Yeah,
my
but it's real.
grandfather for real did that.
Hmm.
And Marsha, as I'm struggling with, why do I want to eat? Why do I want to eat when I'm not hungry? Because I know I'm not hungry because I just had the shot and I just ate. Why do I still? What's this about? That story bubbled up in my spirit. And as I thought about that story, I said, "Oh my God, that is it." For 70 years, my uncle did not eat a food that he clearly loved as a kid. For 70 years, he didn't eat it because the experience and the memory around the food was so painful
And traumatic.
and traumatic, he couldn't eat it
Hmm.
because it was too painful. And as I sat with that story, and that I'm thinking about this story, and I'm writing this book in 2020. He told me that story in 1990, in the
Hmm.
1990s, and I just like listened to it and was like, oh my God, my grandmother did that. Um, but when that story bubbled up as I was writing the book, I said, oh my God, that is it. This is what this is all about. Is that if that is true, then the flip is also true.
And what's that flip?
The flip is cravings and emotional eating come from the fact that we associate foods with memories that are so pleasurable, right? So beautiful, right? That we want to keep experiencing them. And we think what we want is the food, and what we want is the memory. What we want is the experience that the food reminds us of. And we do just like my uncle did. I did just like my uncle did. We get that confused. So when you start thinking about, and it doesn't have to be one pleasurable experience. Could just a culmination of
Okay.
pleasurable experiences over time. Oh my God, I love macaroni and cheese, right? Right? I mean, that's a comfort food, right?
Yeah.
Because you associate it over time with these big family meals and family. But you don't want necessarily that macaroni and cheese. It is the experience. It is the memory. It
Mhm.
is the event that food evokes in you that you want to feel. And so when we are feeling a certain way and we are craving certain foods, here, this is the best way I can say to do it. Get real. I got real clear that the only purpose of eating is nutrition and nourishment.
Period.
Period. And what I was doing and what so many of us do is we use food for entertainment. We use it for pleasure. We treat it as an activity. But pray. Okay, you pray before every meal or most meals, right?
Yep. Yep.
What's your prayer when you pray before your meal?
Father God, I don't even know. What do I pray? Thank you, Jesus, for this food that I'm about to receive for the nourishment of my bodies, for Christ our Redeemer's sake. Amen. And then I'm eating.
And that thank you, God, for the Redeemer, whatever thing you
Yeah.
said, for the nourishment of my
My
body.
body.
In all of our prayers, every prayer that I have heard before a meal, they say that. We
Right.
say that. And then we proceed, at least I would proceed, to eat 5 baskets of chips.
Right.
There's nothing nourishing about 5 baskets of chips.
At
There's
all.
there's nothing nourishing about 5 trips to the buffet. There's nothing nourishing about loading your plate up with food. There's nothing nourishing about eating 6 biscuits.
Mhm.
But and so on a level, we know that the purpose is nourishment, but we have stepped away from it and we have chosen pleasure and entertainment and the fact that it's free, the fact that it's plentiful, the fact that it's there
Right.
as a,
That
as
it's there. Say that one
it's
more
there
time.
as a choice, right?
That it's there. That's right.
That it's there. So the thing that we have to do, the thing that we have to do that will save us, the thing that I did that saved me is that I became conscious. I
So
became
so you became woke.
I got woke. I got woke. I got woke. I got woke. And so, so, but
Yeah.
Because it is so easy because food is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. It is just
Mm,
everywhere all of the time. And if we do not armor ourselves up and get clear that the purpose of eating is nourishment and nutrition only.
mhm,
And the way that you do it, I have what I call three power questions. This is what I coach my people to hang on to. Before you put anything in your mouth, before you put anything in your mouth, and I do it myself every day. Ask yourself these three questions. If this food will not give me the body that I say that I want, why am I eating it?
mm.
First question. If this food will not give me the body that I say that I want, why am I eating it? The second question, why this, why now? Why this particular food now?
At
And
that moment.
at that moment, why this,
Okay.
why now? And the third question is, am I hungry or am I something else?
Mm.
Am I? And we have to be prepared to sit with the answers that bubble up. We have to be prepared to ask the questions.
So what are some of the something else's?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. All right.
What are those?
The best way that I can do this is I can tell you in story form.
Please do.
All right.
We're here to do whatever we want to do. Go ahead.
Okay, because we are talking about food. We are talking about food stories. A couple days ago, no, a couple of months ago, I lost my credit card.
Mhm.
I'm looking around for my credit card. I'm looking. I can't find it. I can't. I have looked in my office. I've looked in my purse. I've looked in my car. I've looked. I've looked. I've looked. And I take one more trip out to my car to look at my car. And on the back seat of my car are some um, sugar-free caramels. Back seat of the car. I'm looking. I go and I look in the car, and I can't find the credit card, but I see those sugar-free caramels. And when I see those sugar-free caramels, I get a twinge in my stomach.
Mm.
This is a twinge. And I reach for them. And because I ask myself those questions before anything goes in my mouth, I'm like, am I hungry? Because,
Mm.
because if I was hungry, I would have been hungry before I came to the car. I wasn't hungry when I came to the car. So what I was frustrated and I was angry because I couldn't find my credit card and those caramels were right there. So I saw those caramels. And so that frustration and anger puts you in a place of discomfort and pain, right? It puts you
Right.
in a place of, and what those caramels are, a little sweet, gives you
Mhm.
some pleasure to distract you from the moment.
Right.
And and
Right.
and here's what's bigger about that is if you are living a life where you always have little things nicking at you, creating pain for you all day long, distractions, microaggressions, little stuff that's just interrupting your day. Just
Like
keep you
little gnats.
say what? I'm sorry.
Like little gnats.
Little gnats, little
I
gnats.
got you.
Yeah. Then what are you doing? You're snacking all day long on stuff that is going to give you some pleasure to distract you from the fact that you got to deal with the gnats. And so the more stuff you have coming at you, the more you're looking for food as a way to comfort it, mask it, give you some pleasure, give you something to help work through it. And it distracts you, so it takes you longer to work through the problem because you're eating instead of dealing with the problem.
But dealing with the problem means that you have to acknowledge that you have a problem.
Absolutely. You have, and that's why it's so important to stop and ask the question before you put something in your mouth. What's going
Mhm.
on right now? Who just walked in the room? What just happened?
Mm.
Who did I just talk to? What did I just hear? What did I just see?
Triggers.
Triggers. And so we have to understand. And so people put that word out there, trigger, right? But we have to understand why something is a trigger.
Mhm.
Not just leave it out
Right.
there. Not just
Right.
understand why it's a trigger. Understand
Got
what's
to deal with it.
you got to deal with it. And people say all the time, I'm an emotional eater. But here's the thing. People don't think about I'm an emotional eater because I'm jealous. Yeah.
Oh, you gonna get real deep in here now.
Well, yeah, because I'm jealous. So you go out to eat. Let's say you've decided that you're going to go on a diet, right? Let's say you've
Uh-huh.
decided you're going to follow a plan.
Right.
You go out to eat. You're full. You have followed your plan. You're feeling good. The person comes to the table with the dessert tray. Everybody else at the table gets dessert.
And I'm sitting there looking at it.
I'm sitting there looking at it. They're having some pleasure that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to have because I have decided that I'm going to follow this plan. So now I'm mad. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm so that, but it doesn't. But the you just get this thing in your stomach that says I want to eat some of that too. It doesn't show up and say, "Oh, I'm mad and I'm jealous because they're eating." It's just this thing that's disguised as hunger because we don't sit with it and unpack it.
But how do you unpack that emotion? That is it a physiological thing,
so
right?
so I'm not a nutritionist, right?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not,
I
I'm not,
know, but you
but
you got a big old book that you did
yeah,
some research in.
but here's the thing is that's a part of it. This is a really complex issue for sure. This
Yes.
is a complex issue for sure. And the reality is that when we eat nutritious foods, it makes it makes it easier to combat these cravings and the things that happen when we are full. So what I was going to say is this. Here's how you know. Here's how you know. And you sit with the fact that the only purpose of eating is to satisfy hunger, nutrition, and nourishment. So if you have a craving for something, right? You say, oh, I think I'm craving something, right? And you don't know whether it's a craving or it's hunger. Then eat something nourishing. If you eat meat, get a piece of chicken, get some vegetables, get an apple, get something, and get full.
From
Because
that.
because if you are hungry, right? If you are hungry, no, if you eat something and get full, you're full. Then it passes. You no longer want food. You're no longer hungry for food. So if you eat some grilled chicken or whatever you want to eat some green beans, eat an apple, eat a cantaloupe, get full. So now logically, you know that you are full. You're full.
That's in your stomach.
In your stomach, you're full in your stomach. You're no longer hungry. But if you still have a craving
Hmm.
for something,
I want
that
something else. What? I
yeah,
need a little something
yeah,
else.
I want a brown. I still want a brownie. I still want some
I want
popcorn.
something.
I want right.
Hmm.
Then what you know then is that craving is rooted in an emotional place that needs healing because you're full. You're full. You're not
Ooh.
you're not even hungry. You just ate.
So
So
now you have to turn the page because you just said emotional. That's
yes,
a whole nother construct than what we were just talking about.
but it is not separate. It is all connected. It is all
Mm.
connected. And that's what I was talking about, how when I was going through this process, I was full. I wasn't hungry, but I still wanted to eat. I still wanted to eat because I was out with my friends and my friends were eating, even though I already ate, right? But everybody else is eating, so I want to feel like I'm part of the group, right?
Mhm.
Or this. Here's another thing that happened to me, Marsha. For years I was a outside salesperson, driving from appointment to appointment. Not doing that so much now
Yeah,
because of COVID,
right.
but a, a large part of my career was going from client to client to client. And this was before we were emailing presentations. This is when we had to do the presentations by hand, and you took them in a folder, and all
Right.
that in the old days. And so, as an outside salesperson, I spent more time than the average bear at gas stations because I'm filling up my car, right?
Okay.
Right? I'm filling up my car. Now, the part of the process of being an outside salesperson is this: you make an appointment, you need to be there on time, you need to make the presentation, you try to close it, you want to get the money, you want to go on to the next appointment.
Right.
Now you're in DC and you're dealing with traffic. My appointment's at 9 o'clock. I need to do this presentation. Oh, the client's running late. Or I'm running late. There's an accident. Do I have all the pages to my presentation? Are they going to buy? Did I meet quota this month? And I loved my job. I love my job. Loved it. And people would say, "Oh my God, you're a salesperson. You're on 100% commission. That must be stressful." No, it's not stressful.
Just
No,
love it.
I love my job. But here's the thing: I didn't know it was stressful. It was stressful,
Mhm.
but I didn't even recognize it because I was eating my way through the stress. Every time I would go to a gas station because I'm in traffic, right? I never went to a gas station without getting about getting a couple of bags of Doritos.
Oh,
Yeah, you go to a gas station, get a couple of bags of
fill her
Doritos,
up and fill up the bag.
and maybe get some Twinkies too. I mean, but
Right,
but
right.
understand. But so, and maybe the first time I did it, I might have been actually hungry.
Mhm.
Maybe the second time I did it, I might have been actually hungry because it was, things were, it was a hectic schedule. I hadn't had lunch. And so I did that. Maybe I was actually hungry. But by the third time I did, it just became a habit. It
Right.
just became what I did. So you go to the gas station, oh, yeah, I'm gonna get some gas and I'm gonna get a couple of bags, a couple of bags of these Dorito chips or whatever I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get some of those, right? It never went to a gas station without doing that. And that it's certainly I wasn't going to the gas station getting an apple and a banana like I do now. I still get food at the gas station, right? But I get apples and bananas when they have them. They don't always have them, right?
Right. But now we're a little more healthy.
And,
You're you're
a-
you're thinking, you're conscious.
I'm conscious. And now when I get gas, I don't do it I'm not now when I get gas, I don't get food at the gas station automatically. It's not part of the trip. It's just that if I happen to be hungry, I'm aware of it, and then I can make some smarter choices
Mhm.
about what I get, as opposed to just automatically and unconsciously picking up something because I'm at the gas station. And go ahead.
I guess where I am is that's the gas station or the drugstore or
Right.
wherever you may be
Mhm.
because this is all internal.
Right. It's just instinctive. It's just rote.
Okay.
It's part of your pattern, and that's what those
Oh,
do.
wait, that's it. It's part of your pattern
Pattern. Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's comfortable.
Yes. Yes. It's not comfortable.
Mm.
Pleasurable.
Ah, even better.
Yeah. Pleasurable. It's pleasure. It's eating for pleasure. For years, the only criteria I used to decide what I was going to eat was what tastes good,
Right.
what's tasty. What do I feel like? What's gonna be good? And good stuff then, right? What
Hmm.
tasted good then was that which was sweet and that which was greasy.
So those are the two specials, right?
Right,
Right.
right.
And so how do you, in managing that, you're on the run, but you still have to somehow manage that because by the time you get home, what are you doing
I'm
after you've done all this, right?
still eating the same way. I mean,
Mhm.
still eating that same non-nutritious way. And here's the thing: our bodies, our bodies crave nutrition. No matter what we feed it, our bodies want our bodies want nutrients. But if we keep trying to give it stuff that's not nutritious, we're still going to be hungry for nutrients. But if we still keep giving it stuff that's not nutritious, we're not ever going to give our body what it needs, and we're going to get stuck in a cycle, and we're going to end up where I did, which is obese. And
Mhm.
my problem, which I think is a problem for many people, is this: I was eating the wrong things.
Mhm.
I was eating too much of it.
Right.
I was eating for the wrong reasons, and I was eating unconsciously. So those four things all contributed to the problem. And the cycle that we're in now, that most people are in now, and the cycle that kept me stuck for so many years, is that I only wanted to deal with what and how much.
Mm.
What any diet? What can I have and how much of it can I have? It was just complete focus on the food
Mhm.
rather than my belief about the food, rather than my
Whatever you were eating.
whatever I was eating. And that's the thing, is that I the way that I finally made peace with food, the way that I finally ended this battle between my mind, my body, and hunger, is I fundamentally changed what I believed about food. A, a fundamental change about what the purpose of food and how to use it in my life.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So you changed fundamentally.
Mm-hmm.
So on the left, you had this one concept, and now you have a new construct.
Mm-hmm.
Wh- talk about that difference,
Yeah, okay.
because that is where the soul
That's
of it is,
yeah.
in that pit.
Yes. So here's the deal, is that I was on a show a couple of weeks ago, and the name of the show was something along the lines of how to change how to improve your eating habits, or how to change your eating habits.
Mhm.
And as I looked at it, I said, this is the problem, right? That's the problem right there. It's just in the name of that show, the focus is on changing the habit rather than changing the belief that causes the habit. So if you just focus on changing the habit, you're always going to be fighting. It's always going to be hard. And
Because
that
it's the war against you and the food.
Yes, 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 yes. So once we change, so the reason that I can go out now and go to dinner, and when the dessert tray comes, I just have a cup of coffee, don't have anything, or look in the other direction, not and it not bother me, is because I don't have desire for it. I changed what I believe about dessert. I changed what I believed about sugar. So now I don't have to exercise self control. I don't have to exercise willpower. I don't have to exercise self discipline, because I don't have a desire for it. So when you change your desire, I change what I believe about dessert. But in the
Period.
period. In the old days, oh my God, oh, key lime pie, that is so sweet and creamy and tasty. And I just love how it tastes. And I remember when I went to and had it for the first time in Miami, and I was with my friends, and it was such a good time. Oh, key lime pie, I love key lime pie.
Right. It was an experience.
It was the experience, absolutely. And every time I saw the key lime pie or the bread pudding, I'm back in my grandmother's kitchen. See peach cobbler. I'm back on the farm. I'm back in her kitchen. I'm back in the kitchen with her, just loving on me, telling me all the stories of her growing up. That's what that means to me.
Mhm.
It still means the same thing to me, but I can just have the memory of it and be washed in the memory, and know that I don't have to eat it to still have
Right.
that
You
same
don't have to have the actual physical experience.
of
You
the
can
food, because
you
it's not the food. Yeah,
right.
because
That's right.
it's not the food. So now when I see desserts like that, I see something different. What I see is this. You know what? This is not sugar's not even food. It's not. And if the only purpose to eat is nourishing and nutrition, why would I put something in my mouth that's not even
Yeah.
food?
Right.
All this is going to do is going to make it harder for me to get in my black dress. All this is going to do is just make me lethargic. All this is going to do is create an unhealthy situation for me. This is not going to help me get the body I say that I want. Why would I even eat this?
And you have determined that the body that you want is a priority and it's important, right? It's
Absolutely.
important. And
Absolutely.
so if it's important, then you've got to deal with what that impact will have on all of the things that you know you shouldn't be dealing with are going to have on you.
Absolutely. And here and let's go back to the what I was talking about earlier, Marsha, about pleasure,
Mhm.
right? So we have to just understand that we think that our choice, we think that the choice that we're making is about the food.
Okay.
That is not the choice that we're making. The choice is about how we want to look, how we want to feel, and how we want to show up. It is about the results that we want to see in our life. And so once we decide, I want to look a certain way, I want to feel a certain way, I want to show up a certain way, then we eat to support that choice. So the choice is, do I want to have hypertension? Do I want to die early of a stroke? Do I want to have osteoporosis at 35? Do I want all these? Do
Right.
I want diabetes? Do I want that in my life? If I
Right.
don't want that in my life, if I don't want that to be my future, because it doesn't have to be, even those
You
statistics,
have a choice.
it doesn't have to be, then
Right.
you eat to the result that you want. You eat to
Mhm.
how you want to look, how you want to feel, how you want to show up.
Mhm.
That's the choice, not the taste.
Right.
Because the pleasure, I will tell you this, the pleasure of being able to go to my closet and wear everything in it, the pleasure of having somebody say, "Oh my God, you lost weight. Oh my God, you look so good." I'm going to own that. That is more. That gives me more pleasure than anything I could possibly put in my
Mhm.
mouth. And I want that for anybody else that is ready to have it.
But sometimes it's really hard to get there because that's really a commitment. And that means that you have to make the decision that your life is not okay the way it is.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
And that, there was some commercial on something or song, there was we're going to live and not die. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to start putting those foods in our bodies that are going to enhance our health, opposed to taking away,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
seeing what the sugar and how it is eating away at our system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, Marsha, you know how this gets even deeper? Here's how it gets even deeper. And I heard this all of the time growing up. Your health is your wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy Hughes talks about it in that forward. Our health is our wealth.
Yes.
And if we are not in our full health, then we can't access all the prosperity that we are supposed to have. We
Mental
can't
and physical and
mental
emotional.
and physical. We
Right.
cannot do it. We cannot do it. And so that's how we get robbed. We get robbed in a mental and a spiritual level,
Mm-hmm.
because if we are eating to express an emotion or suppressing an emotion, I mean, we are emotional beings. I mean,
Right.
that's what life is. How
Right.
we express ourselves through promotion,
That's right.
through emotion. But if we use food to suppress it, then we never get to the emotion. We never live fully or step into our authenticity, which is where our power is, because it's hidden under pound cake. It's hidden in some fried chicken. We
And we
run,
get lost in that too.
we get lost in it. We get lost.
Mm-hmm.
We get lost in the pleasure of what's on the plate,
Mm-hmm.
rather than keeping our. And this is, people ask me if I'm a coach, and here's what I am. Here's where my gift is, and here's where my talent is. I am an imagination coach. And the way that I'm an imagination coach is, in order for us to get to that result, the result has to be stronger than what's on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And we aren't used to creating compelling pictures of the future, of a future that's filled with promise, that's filled with pride, that's filled with power, that's filled with all that we are supposed to be. And if you have a picture of what you want, a goal really of what you want, that is so compelling, that is so powerful, it makes it easy. Yes, it does. It makes it easy to say no to French fries. It makes it easy to say no to fried chicken, because that's not the choice. You think about a woman that's getting married, or anybody that's getting married. I'm going to use a woman because that's what I am, right? And
Yep.
I'm not getting married, but I know plenty of people that did. Right?
Okay.
And all you want to do is get married. All you want to do is have this beautiful, perfect wedding, right? And you've been with your partner, y'all been together. You've been trying to get the ring. You've been trying to get the ring on it for years and years, and finally it happens. You got the ring on it, and you got the date, and the date is 6 months out. Right. And now all you got to do is get the dress, and you are looking for a dress. You have gone from boutique to boutique to boutique to boutique. You've been online. You haven't been able to find it. You don't even know if you're going to find the dress or not. But finally, you're somewhere and you see, you're like, oh my God, this is the dress right here. You go in the store, and guess what? It's on sale. It's on sale. You try it on, but guess what? The dress is too big, it's too small, and you're too big.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the dress. You know
That's
that
the dress.
in that dress, people in the field or in the church are going to go, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Look at her in that dress. It's wonderful. You know that's the dress. You want that dress. You know that dress is going to make your day perfect.
However,
So you get the dress. You get the dress, and every decision
mm,
from that day forward about what goes in your mouth is predicated on the fact that you're going to wear that dress on whatever your wedding day is 6 months from now. And
right.
here's what's so beautiful about that. As you are making the decision not to have the double cheeseburger, as you are
Mm-hmm.
making the decision not to have the bread pudding, as you are making the decision not to have the extra helping, as you are making that decision and choosing that dress, you are happy about it.
Right.
You are making the decision in happiness, because you are daydreaming about a future that you want, that is more important than the plate. And once you learn how to create your happy place, therefore that just happens to be the wedding dress story.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to craft a happy place, craft a compelling place that you can go to every time you're faced with some choice that might not necessarily serve you in the
At
moment
all.
at
Mhm.
all, you can be happy going. For me, it was my closet. That's how I did it, right? You can be happy in your decision because you can just pull that up on a dime, and that's what powers you through to making the right decisions that ultimately serve your body.
But I think that also sometimes when we get into looking at, as an example, marriage, right? You're getting ready for this wedding, you're 40 pounds overweight, and your intended wants to get married in 6 months, but you can't get out of that body in 6 months. So now you've created this whole experience that is totally changing everything that you're about. So now you've added this whole new level of stress.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get beyond that stress and get into a realistic zone about what you can and cannot do?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
these schedules make it even bigger,
Yes.
a bigger
Yes.
problem
Yes.
than what it
Yes.
was
Yes.
originally,
Yes.
right?
Yes. 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 And so understand, I was using that example of the wedding dress as a
Right.
as a
No, but
way
it's
to.
a real
It's a
example.
real thing, but as a way to set a goal, right? And the thing that makes goals so powerful and so wonderful and magical is that they need to be attainable, right?
Right.
They need to
That's
be
right.
attainable, and even sometimes if you fall short of the goal, just the fact that you set the goal and work toward it in a healthy way moves you off the dime.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of keeping that in perspective. All right, so maybe you set a 40 pound goal in 6 months, right? And in 6 months you don't lose that 40 pounds. But in 6 months you've lost 30 pounds. In 6 months you've lost 25 pounds. You are closer and better and stronger than you were before you did that. The part of the thing is that we we need to celebrate, and this is why community is so important. This is why having somebody, what in my book I call it my angel warriors. It's why it's important to have them, because they help you celebrate the
Right.
victories, even the little victories. And we'll say to ourselves, and people in my group will say, oh my goodness, I only lost 1 pound.
Mm.
And I am like, 1 pound, oh my God. Let's celebrate that one like
That's
it's
right.
100. Because a year from now, can you imagine what you're going to look like a year from now if you just lost 1 pound a week for 50 weeks? 50 pounds can change your life, but
Right.
it starts with one. So we have to love on that little bit of progress and not diminish it, and love on the because that feeling that we get from losing that 1 pound, that's what gets us to pound number two. And
Right.
that's what gets us to pound number three. So we have to celebrate and bask in and understand what it takes for us to get to every little victory that it is. And sometimes, Marsha, sometimes we have to celebrate when we don't have the victory.
Mhm.
Because I think I write in my book about that, a lost bread pudding weekend, right? And sometimes you have to fall off the wagon
Right.
one last time
To get back up and be realistic about it.
to get it. To
Mhm.
get it. You know what? That this I know, since I have done this, this is the last time I'm going to do it. I've done it. I've learned it. But sometimes you don't know it. You don't
Right.
know it until you get it in the misstep. You have to misstep to understand how to step.
And you made a point here that I think is really powerful. Like, is food your love language?
Oh, yes,
Love
yes,
language
yes.
for yourself as well as others.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? Food. I am not saying that food cannot be our love language, right? I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't enjoy food. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that we need to recognize what's going on.
Hmm.
And I will tell you, this is one story that is not in the book.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
Again, I grew up from the South in the country, and foods I love like with it. But my aunt, I had an aunt who I do mention in the book was a great cook, and during the holidays she made all kinds of pies. And we grew up with pecan trees in the
Yes.
yard, and she made these fabulous, wonderful caramel pecan pies when we were growing up. Loved. I mean, my cousins and I would like beat each other up trying to get to a pecan pie. So. Um, my cousin, he's 2 years older, and he was starting to date and not be around so much.
Mhm.
And I remember one Christmas, we had finished with our meal and he was headed to his girlfriend's. And my aunt said, "Hey, you're leaving, but I made your favorite pecan pie."
Mm.
And so my cousin said,
Mm.
"Oh, Mama, I don't even like sweets like that anymore." And he left. And I saw this disappointment just fall on her face. And being the people pleasing kid that I was like, "Oh, and Dorothy, don't worry, I'll eat the pie," because
Mm.
I thought it was about the pie. And she said, "Okay." It was like, "Okay, here, I'll cut you a slice." She didn't want me to eat the pie. It wasn't even about the pie. She didn't care about the pie. I thought it was about the pie. It was what she really wanted to say was, "Son, don't leave yet. Sit beside your mama and spend a little time with your mama before you head off to your girlfriends.
Right.
I miss you, son. Let's
Mhm.
spend a little time
It
with
was
me."
in her heart.
That's what was in her heart. But what she
Mhm.
said was, "I made your favorite, the pie,"
Mhm.
because that's how she connected with him. That's how she connected with him as a kid. That's her love language. But
Right.
he didn't hear that. All he heard was pie, and I'm going to my girlfriend's. So he thought, because men do think literally, really. When she said, "Here, eat some pie," "No, I don't even eat sweets anymore, Mama. I don't want the pie. I'm going over to,
And done.
gone." Now, in my heart of hearts, because I know my cousin, if she had said, "Son, don't, can you stay an extra 5 minutes?" He would have stayed. But she didn't know the truth. She didn't understand the truth herself to say, this is the emotional thing that I need
From
in
you at
the
this moment.
in this moment. And that's how food obscures our connections with one another,
Mm.
because we use the food, and we think it's a relationship with food. It's not. It is the relationship with we manage food. We have relationships with people. And when we move the food out of the way, if she had moved that pie out of the way and just said, "Son, I miss you.
Mm.
Son, come sit here at the table with me for a little while," that it would have been a completely different thing. It would have been a completely
A whole
different,
nother story.
a whole nother story.
Right. Because it would have been about she and her son.
Ex- and some authentic expression of
Yes.
emotion, and some authentic vulnerability to
Mhm.
say, "I miss you. I need you, son. I want you to." That's opening yourself up to the fact that he might say, "Well, Mom, I don't have time for you right now. I'm still going over to my girlfriend's." Right?
Right.
Then what do you do with that? My son doesn't love me? That's not what it
Mhm.
means at all. It means that,
Mhm.
I'm 17 and I got some hormones.
Right. And I got to go handle that right now.
Right, right. So,
Mhm.
but we have to, when we move the food out of the way,
Right. And have
it, op-
real conversations.
it opens us up to deal with these
Mhm.
daily things that make life what that make life full.
And I think too, sometimes in looking at all of these stories, I highly recommend that you all get this book. So let me say that here, Leaving Large: The Stories of a Food Addict, Michelle Petties. This is so critical because we spend so much time trying to look our best, do our best, but then we're sitting there eating, and then we can't get into the clothes we just bought, right? We can't go to where we want because I'm not feeling that comfortable because it's a pandemic and I'm sitting at home eating, making cookies and cakes, and I'm doing all this versus really looking internally to what I'm going through, and that this is more a psychological, emotional eat. Then I'm not hungry. I
Mhm.
just ate that pizza because I just ate the pizza. It was because it was there.
Because it was there. Yeah. And
Because it
so
was there.
here's the one of the things that I talk about in my training is I talk about intentional substitution.
Hmm.
And psychologically, in order for us to release certain things, whether it's foods, whether it's a certain habit, whether it's something, we have to, in order for us to release it, we need to replace it with
Right.
something
It's
else.
something.
Right. And so the thing is that create is a way for you to develop or design the thing that you're going to go to first. De- Deal with that first. What I
Mm.
want, what my vision is, create that first. And when you create that first, it makes it easier to release these things that do not help you get the thing that you really want. So rather than just going to, here's, I'm gonna cut back on this, I'm not gonna have this, I'm not gonna have this. Now you feel deprived because you
Right.
haven't created the thing that's gonna replace it. Create the thing that's gonna replace it
So is
first.
that exercise or what is it?
Yeah, well,
What is
you
it?
mean
What do you
you mean
replace it
you
with?
you mean you mean exercises like crunches or things like
Oh,
that?
I
I mean,
but
like
you want me to
sit-ups?
you want me to I don't you don't want me to eat that doggone 5
Yeah.
pieces of pizza,
Yes.
right? So what but I need to do something.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
thought that the pizza was the thing I was supposed to
Yes.
do, but
Yes.
now you say that's not the thing I'm supposed to
Yes.
do. I'm supposed to go into a whole
Yeah.
nother place
So
in my head and my heart and my
yes.
stomach than that right there,
So
right?
yes. So here's the thing. It is different for everybody,
Okay.
right? But if but here's a shift. If we're making the shift and understanding that the only problem that food will solve is hunger, right? And that we cannot get emotional support from food,
Right.
then we have to figure out where we get emotional support. So if you are feeling bored, right? Okay, here's a statement. I'm not hungry, I am bored. Instead of eat, I will. That I will is
Mm.
different for everybody. I am not hungry, I am sad. Instead of eat, I will. That's different for everybody. I am not hungry, I am frustrated. Instead of eat, I will. That's different for everybody. So we have to identify the emotions. I am not hungry, I am lonely. Instead of eat, I will. I am not hungry. You see where I'm going with
It's
this?
powerful.
So we it's different for everybody, but we have to be able to identify the emotion. We have to be able to sit with that and sit with the fact that we feel those things and be okay with that. Because
But
none
now
of
you
it,
want me to sit and face my demons.
yes, absolutely. Because you know what, Marsha, our gift is in facing our demons.
Mhm.
Our gift to the world. This is how this robs us so much. Look, I have read this, I have heard it, I have seen it. Is that our greatest gift to the world is rooted in the deepest pain that we feel.
Mm, right.
And and if and if we cover up that pain, if we cover up that discomfort, if we cover it with food, if we mask it, then we never get a chance to share our greatest gift because we never allow ourselves to feel it. That's how we get robbed. And guess what? People get paid for their gifts.
Right.
We can get paid for our pain, but we have to open ourselves up to it and share it.
But now you're saying that this, my daughter used to call it the vault. Mom, would you please open the vault? You got to open the vault because I'd keep all this stuff. And now we're unpacking, right?
Mhm.
You got to unpack,
You
but
got to do that.
you got to unpack, but you got to get to the place where you really say, I got the actual key to the vault, and I'm really going to move this to a whole nother direction
Mhm.
because this is not healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, and I need to do something different with this.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
that's an acknowledgement that, talking to the woman or the man in the mirror,
Mhm. Mhm.
where
Yeah.
you have to have a straight up no chaser
Right.
conversation.
Absolutely. You do. You do. And
And in many cases it's life or death. We don't even want to deal with the extremes.
but that's real. I mean, it's life or death physically,
Hmm.
and it can be life or death emotionally and mentally. I
Yes.
mean, just because you're walking around doesn't mean you're alive,
Mm.
right?
Ooh, right.
Just because you're walking around, and when you are struggling to get up the stairs, when you are struggling to get up and out of a seat, when you're struggling to get up out of the car, when you have to go to the grocery store and ride around on one of those little carts, when you're walking from side to side, barely walking,
There's something wrong.
there is something wrong. There
Mhm.
is something. And so see what I know is that we all go through stuff, right? And because I have been obese, because I have been morbidly obese, because I have been morbidly obese many times,
Mm,
I recognize it, I see it. And what I know, when I see somebody, I said, you know what, this person is going through some stuff. They're going through some stuff that is hard, that is painful, and they don't know any other way to deal with it other than food.
that's right.
They don't have the tools. So I just feel, I feel compassion. That's why I wrote this book. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, because my heart breaks, Marsha. My heart breaks because I see it. But my heart is also filled with joy because I know that there is an answer.
That's right.
No, I know that it doesn't have to be that way. If you are just ready, if you're just ready to take one step and be happy in that one step.
Well,
You
you made this step though,
know,
and this is like it's not just a step. This is a leap, right?
yeah, I mean, well, you know what happens is you once you take step after step after step after step, you look back and you say, "Oh my God,
Mhm,
yeah, oh my
mhm,
God, all of that. Well, I did all of
mhm.
that." But you do it a step at a time. You do it because every time you make a step, a new horizon just unfolds. It's just like when I was writing that book. I wrote one story and then another story showed up. I wrote one another story and then another story showed up.
And they're wonderful stories, I might add.
So, that's, but you just have to move.
Mhm.
It's like when we were working together, when we were working together at Morgan, I was working with the interns. There was a piece of me that said, I don't even care what you give me. Just give me something.
Right,
I
right,
mean, really,
right.
I mean, really,
Do some.
just give me something, because then we can correct. So we
Mhm,
move and correct, moving, correct, moving, correct, moving. Just move. Just do
mhm.
something. Just
Right.
just move,
Something.
because that's how we get there. Don't just do one thing. Do
Mhm.
one thing.
Well, one thing I want, because we only have a couple of minutes now, and we could do this for a lot longer. But one, you also have a group on Facebook. Would-
Yes.
What's the name of the group?
The group is I Am Brand New Now. I Am Brand New Now on Facebook. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I Am Brand New Now on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, and I do a Sunday night show at 7 o'clock. Also, I Am Brand New Now. The name of the book is Leaving Large: The Stories of a Food Addict, which is available on Amazon. You can order it on Amazon, or you can order it right off of leavinglarge.com on my website, and I'll send you an autographed copy. So that's
Oh,
the
that's cool.
right. And also, for if you're listening, and I do want to say this, is if you are listening and you are part of a group, part of an association, part of any sort of network, where you feel like you would like a deeper connection, you'd like for me to come talk to your group, to talk about this, to break this apart. Because here's the thing, is that once you change your mind,
Mm,
once you change your body, you can change your life. And the skills and the steps are the same. They apply to business, they apply to life, because it's all about transformation.
that's right.
It's about being where you are and getting to where you want to go. The steps are the same, whether it's eating or whether it's business.
Michelle Pettis, Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict. Michelle, girl, this is fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for this incredible book. I want you to know that I'm getting my daughter one, and we're going to live this book because during pandemic, I done gained some of them pounds you were talking about, eating some of that stuff that I didn't need to be eating.
And Marsha,
So
people do that. They call me up or they're emailing. They say, I bought the book, but now I'm going to buy it for five of my friends. I,
that's right.
I get that all the time.
That's right. But and I think that it's really important for you listeners, and I know we got to go, but This book really gets into the emotional and the mental aspect of what you're doing, and to be able to be realistic about your life and how you're living it. And the reality is that too many of us are not eating properly, and that is impacting our length of days and the quality of our lives, because it can turn into other things. So thank you so much. Do you have one last word, or give us your email again or your website? And
Yes, yes, yes. Leaving Large, www.leavinglarge.com. You can download a free chapter. You can purchase the book there. You can connect with me there. And it's not about the food, it's about the story behind the food. Just remember that.
okay, thank you, Michelle Pettis. I am brand new now. Leaving Large, the story of a food addict. I'm Marsha Jews, your host, and we will see you next week on WKIM. We keep it moving with Marsha Jews. Enjoy your evening, and thank you for joining.